Namaskar and welcome to this web series called Meeting the Masters. My name is Ved and I hope to inspire you to learn about the Ascended Masters, cultivate a deeper relationship with them, and hopefully be open to their wisdom and to be guided by them on your spiritual path. Last week I shared with you about Baba Nityananda of Ganesh Puri, in our last session I should say. And this week we're speaking about his disciple, Swami Muktananda. And Muktananda's spiritual journey is a long and fascinating one. So in his history, it's said that as a teenager, his name was Krishna at that time, Krishna met the wandering Nityananda when Nityananda was wandering throughout India. Met him, and that inspired him to begin his spiritual journey, his own spiritual seeking. And so he also began wandering, looking for spiritual teachers. And he became quite devoted and quite engrossed in many of the traditional spiritual paths. So he learned the Vedas officially for a long time. He studied with other gurus. And he was inducted as a Swami in those other orders. But at a certain time in his life, he encountered Nityananda again in Ganesh Puri. And he said in that encounter that he felt the Shaktipat, the energy initiation of Nityananda. The transmission of energy from Nityananda to him. And Nityananda told him, now you stop wandering, sit and meditate. Sit and meditate. And Muktananda, listening to Nityananda's guidance, Muktananda sat in a very rigorous schedule of meditation. So, according to his autobiography, Muktananda's autobiography, he would meditate almost 9 to 12 hours a day in 3 hour segments. And over the course of 9 years of meditation, Muktananda had numerous energy experiences, numerous experiences with Kundalini, and many spiritual experiences that he describes in great detail in his autobiography. The autobiography is called Play of Consciousness. And this is still available. It's still in print that you can buy this. And in the book, Muktananda describes his meditation journey throughout 9 years of the energy progressively working through different stages and having different spiritual experiences with Kundalini day by day. And of course he also gives some anecdotes about Nityananda. And when you listen to some videos from him or read some of his other books, those anecdotes come through very strong, that he felt a powerful connection with Nityananda and followed his guidance very closely. And then after that 9 years, it said Nityananda declared that Muktananda had become free, liberated. And it was then Muktananda, at that time, he was set up with an ashram. And from there, Muktananda, after being set up with the ashram, began working with spiritual seekers. And Muktananda actually became quite famous after some time. In the West, he did travel and do tours through the West. And I think he had a rather large following. There's 1 or 2 videos you can still see on YouTube of Muktananda on some of those tours, where he would meet with spiritual seekers, give them guidance, and give them the the Shaktipat, the energy transmission. So Muktananda's core teaching in that time and throughout his life was the same as Nityananda. But Muktananda phrased it as bow to yourself, honor yourself, meditate on yourself, and then other times he would say, God exists in you as you. So again, his message was the same spiritual teaching as Nityananda, that you need to turn your attention inwards, try to have that spiritual connection inside, try to discover that, and open up to that. That's really where the spiritual path lies. And over the years, well, Muktananda, he had a huge influence on the spiritual movement in the West, I think. And he also founded many organizations. The organizations, you can look it up, they're well known. Um, well, they look after his wisdom legacy, right? So his heritage of books and videos and things like that. So certainly he had an enormous positive influence for a huge number of people. And there's a lot that can be gained from reading his book, Play of Consciousness, particularly if you have had some energy experiences or you're trying to understand your spiritual journey. It gives you some guidance. I personally felt when I read the book, it's been some time since I've read it, but I've read it many times throughout my life, that whenever I would read it, I could feel his presence. And I could feel that there's some energy in his words, and that energy is stimulating my own energy and driving me to experience and discover and explore the inner space through meditation. I remember having some of my own energy experiences stimulated because I started reading the book and I would feel the energy coming on. And Muktananda, at the end of his life, he formally passed over the running of the organization, the running of the ashrams and things like that, to two of his disciples. One is called Gurumai Chidvilasananda, and she's still alive, I believe. And her brother, Gurumai's brother, Gurudev, he also took the name Nityananda. So they're brother and sister, and they carry on some of the legacy of Muktananda. Now, Muktananda also, of course, gave Shaktipat initiation to thousands of people. So we don't know how far his spiritual influence has gone. And my own master, my own guru, his name is Sri Vasudeva, he met Muktananda many years ago. My own guru had traveled to India to meet a master and ended up staying at Muktananda's ashram for a little while, where he began to experience energy, the energy experience, the Kundalini awakening, and began his spiritual process. But I will share about that in the next video. my own guru's life and spiritual process. What I find really interesting about the story between Muktananda and Nityananda, and certainly I draw a lot of inspiration from reading about their relationship, and I love all the anecdotes that Muktananda gives about Nityananda and their relationship. You know, it's coming to my mind that Nityananda once saw Muktananda reading the yogic philosophy in books, and Nityananda said to him, "Why are you reading in those books? You have what created those books. You have the brain that wrote those books. So you focus on you, leave the books aside." And then another time, Muktananda was practicing pranayam, a lot of breathing exercise. And Nityananda asked him, "Why are you doing that? You need to meditate." Because that was the path Nityananda saw would liberate Muktananda, of course. And by Muktananda's own admission, his own words, he said that he really think his spiritual journey and his spiritual process began with the Shaktipat, the initiation from Nityananda. Never mind that he had traveled all around India. He had studied with other gurus. He became versed. He was ordained as a Swami before meeting Nityananda. He says he considers his spiritual journey really only began after the initiation or the energy transmission from Nityananda. And I find that to be an interesting point that Muktananda brings. So, I advise you to go and read a little about him. To, if you feel inspired, to check out his book, Play of Consciousness, because certainly there's a lot of Shakti in that book and a lot of understanding that can come to you. And I advise you really to stay to Muktananda's core message, that bow to yourself, honor yourself, understand yourself. God exists within you as you. And certainly, Muktananda still has a spiritual presence that's supporting spiritual seekers who want to be free. So, let's take a little time to do our meditation. And oh, just a word. Someone commented to me and asked me, what are the sounds in the video that they're hearing? Well, in the intro it's my guitar playing, but these other sounds you hear, these are actually the insects and the frogs that are outside my house. They're so loud, they have a chorus. Every night they're singing to me. But it's in the surrounding area. Here, you are hearing the sounds of nature outside. So it's not something I'm adding into the video. It's just where I live. Every night I get to listen to them singing. And I find it very interesting that they will sing and sing and sing. And then when I sit for meditation, they slowly become quiet. And then after meditation, they start again. So let's do a little meditation and then we can move on. Let's close the eyes. Take a few slow, deep breaths. Take a moment to refocus on yourself. And when I say refocus on yourself, I mean putting aside your day, the activities of your day, the conversations, the roles, and just be with yourself. Slowly exhale, emptying your lungs. Slowly inhale. When you exhale, allow the body to relax. When you inhale, try to feel the inner expansion. Feel how the breath supports the body. Feel the nourishment of your breath. And we just tune our minds to the power of the masters, all those liberated beings, the great gurus and guides. May we learn to be more attuned to them and their supportive spiritual presence. May we learn to be receptive, to be guided, to take the next step on our spiritual path. is in the quiet space, that space of stillness and peacefulness, that we are strengthening our spiritual connection. Now let's take a few deep breaths to strengthen the body, coming back. Coming all the way back. Thank you very much. When the moment is right for you, you can gently open your eyes. Oh, so before I leave you, I did have a picture here I wanted you to see. Here you can see Muktananda. Here he is with Nityananda. We're there together. And these old photographs of both of them together, I feel so much presence in them. This one seems to be taken when he had done his sadhana. It feels like that. That quality is there in the energy. So thank you very much everyone for just tuning in with me to learn about Swami Muktananda. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave it there and I can take a look. And I hope that you are feeling a little more attuned to the power of the masters. Of course, we might feel a resonance with a particular master. That can happen. And usually when we have the resonance with a particular master, that shows we may have had a past connection to them in another life, or it may show that they are trying to guide us, so we feel connected to them and they are trying to support us in some way. But I want you to know that every genuine master, they are connected to all masters. They are connected to that greater guru principle, guru tattva, that I spoke of in the first video. And that's why you will see I often say we connect to the masters. So we're connecting to the energy field, the consciousness field of all of these great beings who offer their support to our spiritual journey. That's really the goal. And remember that their support is just helping you to go inside. It's helping you to take another step in your inner journey, your inner experience. Alright, so I'll see you in the next one. Namaskar, my friends. Take care. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you want to see more like this. You can also join my WhatsApp channel to see what else I'm up to.